This past weekend, Collision 2024 went down in New Jersey, and I've already covered the top 8 extensively in yesterday's video. However, as normal, today we'll be going over every single major upset that dotted Collision's spectacular bracket. We've got quite a lot to go over, and unfortunately not a lot of VODs to go with it, but we'll be covering as much as we can, by basically going in chronological order and covering the events of the weekend. By the way, I'm going to be referencing an upset thread courtesy of Echo Stats. Link to their Twitter is in the description down below. Also, I'm going to be saying upset factor quite a lot in this video, so if you want to know what that means or how that's calculated, I've linked an article in the description that will tell you just that. With that out of the way, let's get started. Our story starts on day 1 with an unfortunate tale. Diox 6, the Byleth main from Switzerland, was coming into Collision as the 80th seed, but unfortunately for us, Diox 6 got double upset. First by Doofus, the 177th seed, 3-1 for an upset factor 2, before dropping into losers and getting upset again by C Live, the 272nd seed, in a Game 5 set for an upset factor of 4. That eliminated Diox 6 at 193rd as the 80th seed. Our next big upset comes from John Numbers, the best player in the world on a rainy weekday at a local. John, the 41st seed, defeated Louis Money, the 24th, 3-1 in an upset factor 2 win. After this, Louis Money would drop into losers and lose a close Game 5 set to Jaja, the 56th seed, in an upset factor 3 loss to place 49th. Our next big upset comes courtesy of Smurf Poster, the 108th seed, who defeated MVD, the 21st, 3-1, in an upset factor 5 victory. This set is tied for being the biggest upset on day 1, and was a tremendously impressive win. Afterwards, MVD dropped into losers and would lose to Anarchy, the 43rd seed, in a Game 5 set, for an upset factor of 2. This eliminated MVD at 97th. And is sort of crazy when you consider it was done in Greninja Snake, which if you know anything about Greninja, you know that is not a good matchup for the little frog. Next up is a story that's sure to make you all very sad. SkyJ, one of the fan favorites, especially after the dramatic 2nd place finish at last year's Collision, got upset early on by Monty, the Game & Watch main, 3-0. With the 42nd seed triumphing over the 23rd, it was good for an upset factor of 2. After this, SkyJ dropped into losers and got upset again. This time though, it was from an unusual source. Alo is a Zelda main who came into Collision 2024 as the 66th seed. And in the battle of low tiers, Alo would defeat SkyJ in a close Game 5, which eliminated SkyJ at 65th in an upset factor 4 loss. As a side note, Alo's eventual 25th place finish may be the best ever placement from a North American Zelda at a North American major. I may be wrong about the best ever part, but it's certainly the best one of recent times. And the last big upset of day 1 comes courtesy of Sinji, the Pac-Man main who recently made a great run at LMBM 2024. Following that up at Collision as the 39th seed, Sinji managed to defeat Dabuz, the 7th seed, 3-1 for an upset factor 5 victory. This victory tied with Smurf Poster's win over MVD as the biggest upset on day 1. Now we're headed into day 2, which means that, somewhat naturally actually, we're going to be shifting away from solitary upsets and more towards the big upset runs, because most people who made upsets in day 2 didn't just make one. Let's hop right into it. To get things started, let's rip the band-aid off and talk about Steve. Onin and DD both made insane runs at Collision 2024, which included both of them getting a win over the tournament's first seed, Tweak. You see, Onin and Tweak fought in the first round of top 32, and Onin won that set 3-0. With the 16th seed defeating the first, it was good for an upset factor of 7, the largest upset of the entire tournament. But we're not done. Because do you know who managed to get the second largest upset of the tournament? That's right, DD. Tweak had to fight DD immediately after losing to Onin, and lost that set just as dominantly, DD taking it 3-0. With DD being the 11th seed, this was good for an upset factor of 6, which, like I said earlier, was the second largest of the entire tournament. This ended up eliminating Tweak at 17th place as the first seed, after losing back-to-back to Double Steve, further cementing Tweak's massive Steve problem. DD and Onin would both go on tremendous runs afterward, For Onin, that meant defeating Meister 3-0 for a minor upset, which included a game where Onin forgot to swap off of MkLeo's controls and won the game anyways. Onin made top 8 through winners, but to see how that would go, you'll have to watch yesterday's video. For DD, a tremendous run meant going on the best losers run of the entire tournament. Early on in pools, DD lost a close Game 5 set to Jackal, dropping into losers and defeating Aaron 3-1 in order to make it out of pools and into top 32. DD's losers run after this was one of the longest and by far the most stacked. DD defeated Icy Mist, Tweak, and Riddles, all without dropping a single game the entire time. However, DD would lose to Mudace 3-1 at the very end, placing 9th as the 11th seed. And as crazy as this is, you could actually consider this an underperformance, because this is the first time that DD has ever missed top 8 at a major, a true major, counted by LumiRank as such. And by the way, this kid is technically unranked on LumiRank due to not reaching attendance requirements. And this is the first time DD's missed top 8 at a major. DD has wins on Riddles, Tweak, and Sonics, all of whom are top 10 in the world on the 2023 year rankings. This kid is going places, dear viewers. It's just a matter of time. Our next story is the tragic one of Zamba. Coming into Collision as the 3rd seed, Zamba lost the first round of top 32 to Lima, the 14th seed. This 3-1 win was good for an upset factor of 5, and after a minor losers run from Zamba, Light would eventually be the one to put an end to it, defeating Zamba in a Game 5 set in a minor upset, which eliminated Zamba at 9th place as the 3rd seed. And now, we're at the final story of today's video, and I saved the best one for last, because we're taking a look at Cola's run at Collision 2024. In my opinion, Cola was the best part of this entire tournament, and I'm not kidding. Cola came into the tournament as the 12th seed, and in pools had a close call with Beastly. The set went to a Game 5, but thankfully Cola clutched it out in the end, which was only the first of Cola's insane wins. That's because after this, in the first round of top 32, Cola had to go up against MkLeo, a classic Cola bracket demon. But after 5 intense banger games, Cola would come out on top against the 5th seed in an upset factor 2 victory, and an insane pop-off. Oh yeah. That's OD right there. But Cola wasn't even done, because after moving into winners quarterfinals, Cola had to go up against fellow Moist member Light. Fox versus Roy, Light versus Cola. I highly recommend you go watch this set. VODs, as always, are in the description down below. I was literally sneaking peeks of this set in between having lunch on St. Patrick's Day. It was that good. But ultimately, Cola defeated Light in an insane Game 5 comeback, an upset factor 3 win over the 4th seed. This allowed Cola to enter top 8 through winner's side, but to see how that went, you'll have to watch yesterday's video. And that about wraps it up for the massive upsets at Collision 2024. Massive upsets like Smurf Poster over MVD, Sinji over Dabuz, and Alo over SkyJ, combined with insane returns to form, like Cola, Onin, and DD's runs. This tournament had all sorts of excitement, perfect for the theme of this year's Collision, Heroes vs. Villains. That's going to be it for today's video. Before I go, shout out to my patrons Seth Laster, Fosco223, Logan S, Persipalm, Wawa, Mr. Sinister, Happy Feet, Oceanman, Mistybot, and my 2 patrons Iltis and Diamond Blaze. Additionally, shout out my YouTube members DTR Jr., Defective, Boston R, Iltis, Goddesses B, Kirby Fan, Nexus, Loco Soko, and my Tier members Mike G, Wu-Tang Forever, and Stormtrooper. Lastly, extra special thanks to my Tier 3 supporters Fat Blizzard, who says Big D will make it out of his slump, and Avadoon, who says Mr. Rice is the GOAT of Smash content. If you want to support me using any of these methods, links are in the description below. Also, I want to give one last sincere thanks to Let Me Fly for their continued support of my channel. Link to their Twitter is also in the description. Don't miss tomorrow's upload. But until then, I've been RisterMice, and thank you all so very much for watching.